Video games number one unk Todd Howard chatted a bit about the Elder Scrolls 6 in an interview with our friends over at Kinda Funny, revealing that the game will not only run on a new version of Bethesda's creation engine, but also return to Bethesda's classic style. Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to remind you to enjoy, but not necessarily believe, all of Todd Howard's sweet little lies.
Oh, Bruce, are we really falling in love all over again? Do I feel these butterflies in my chest? It's too early for that. It truly is. We still have no idea when Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out. This interview didn't really change any of that. But by God, is it great to hear Todd tell us that all over again.
Right before we recorded this episode, we were just reminiscing about how we kind of love Todd Howard a little bit. We sort of love him a little bit, even though he never gives us anything. Sort of love him.
Yeah, there aren't many figures that have been in the industry as long as he has. These days you can kind of count them on one hand.
Yeah, that's true. All right, despite our cautioning, the scarce bits Bethesda Game Studios game director and executive producer Todd Howard shared about the Elder Scrolls 6, they do sound promising.
Yes, promising. Always the promises, right? For starters, Howard shared that the Elder Scrolls 6 will run on a new version of Bethesda's internally made creation engine.
Howard said, quote, "We've spent the last several years bringing Creation Engine 2, which powers Starfield, up to Creation Engine 3, which is going to power Elder Scrolls 6 and beyond."
But what does that mean? We don't know. Yeah. Howard also offered some honeyed words to anyone that may not have really clicked with Starfield or Fallout 76.
It's true. Howard said, quote, "In many ways, Fallout 76 and Starfield are a little bit of a creative detour from kind of that classic Elder Scrolls Fallout, where you are exploring a world in a certain way. As we come back to Elder Scrolls 6 that we are doing now, we are coming back to that classic style that we've missed, that we know really, really well."
Well, let's hope, because it kind of felt like Starfield was trying to be that, but didn't quite. He's making it sound like an intentional decision, which I appreciate. You know, he always sticks up for his teams and their outputs, which I really, really love. And I'll gush a little bit more about that later. But as far as what Howard said, he also acknowledged that players expect new features in addition to their classic sensibilities, saying, quote, "We have a style of game we really, really like that people expect from us, and there was a lot of innovation to be done there still. So when you step into a world, you feel like you are experiencing it for the first time."
See that mountain over there? You can climb it.
Go right up.
You can walk all the way to the top of that mountain.
All right, well, all this sounds great, obviously, but Howard responsibly brought the conversation back to earth by saying that it's going to be a while before the studio shows anything else about this game, Elder Scrolls 6, which was announced 7.5 years ago.
Oh, and lest we forget, Elder Scrolls 6 is the sequel to Elder Scrolls 5, which came out 15 years ago. Oh my God. But then also 10 years ago, and then 8 years ago, and then 6 years ago, and then 2 years ago, and then also last year.
That's right. Todd Howard added that the development of Elder Scrolls 6 is going well, and that Bethesda is happy with it. He also added that the majority of the studio is currently working on Elder Scrolls, and quote, "We're able to play the game. We're about to pass a big milestone internally."
Sounds like everything's going well. Despite drawing an earlier distinction between Fallout 76 and the Elder Scrolls 6, Howard did take a second to gush about the enduring multiplayer Fallout game, which it's been good to see.
It really has. He said, quote, "In many respects, Fallout 76 is the game that we've done that I'm the most proud of. It's so hard to do and then maintain as a relevant game. And I think if you look across the industry, the amount of games like it that there have been or come and gone, and here's 76 still there with big numbers and doing well."
He's absolutely right about that. Yeah, the more cynical part of me didn't think 76 was long for this world, but they've endured and they've attracted players that really have a lot of fun with it. So that's always great to see.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Honestly, Fallout 76 had a huge turn when it came out. It was 2018, I think it came out, and it was a disaster. It took them a couple years, really. They really worked hard on it for a couple years, and now they have a hit on their hands. Like, people are still playing it and coming back to it. Everybody that plays 76 says they love it. So, okay.
Yeah, and what he said is more salient than ever, that it's just impossible to get any kind of game like that off the ground. So they weathered the storm, and now they have a great audience, which is awesome. The game is currently experiencing a bit of a player surge, at least as told through Steam charts. That's really all we have to go on. And that's correlating with Fallout TV series' second season, and the Burning Springs update, which featured Walton Goggins reprising his role as the Ghoul.
Howard also uncharacteristically downplayed expectations for Starfield's next update, bluntly saying it is not Starfield 2.0. And he's responding to people on the internet, because I've seen a lot of people say that in like reports that, oh, it's going to be Starfield 2.0. I love that he's like, nah, it's not that.
I'm so grateful that he's doing that. He probably could have done that a little bit more before Starfield came out, but that's okay. He's doing it now. He did expand that statement a little bit, saying, quote, "For expectation setting, it's the kind of thing where if you love Starfield, we think you're gonna love this." But yeah, it's probably not gonna turn around people, maybe like me, that weren't quite enjoying it.
I wonder what that means. And finally, Howard generally alluded to more Fallout projects, but didn't share any specifics. He commiserated, saying, quote, "It's understandable when these big franchises people love, people want brand new experiences. We're working on stuff. There's a time to announce that. We have irons in the fire."
Okay, yeah, and I guess they'll stay there for a decade or more. Yeah, good old Todd. Love hearing from him. Love that he's still in the mix, still working honestly and slowly but surely making good products. I don't know. I have a variety, a rainbow of reactions every time I hear Todd speak about Bethesda's work, and I'll start with the nice one. This is the cuddly one that's all curled up in front of the fire and looks really cute. I've said this before, but I really, really appreciate how hard Todd sells the work of his team and the outputs of his studio. He's always singing its praises and talking it up and acknowledging people that are working really hard. He's exactly the kind of person I would want to represent my work. And probably, I mean, I've never worked with him, but he seems like the kind of person you want to work for. Somebody who always shares acknowledgement and is always talking up your work. Yeah, the other one's a bit more cynical, but I won't dwell on that too much. It's really just when my head goes to Creation Engine 3, what does that even mean? If Starfield was Creation Engine 2, what did it do that Skyrim didn't? And that's kind of difficult for me to pinpoint. And in a lot of ways, Starfield even seems like a game that was defined by its technical restrictions. The fact that you couldn't fly around on a planet or land wherever you wanted. The fact that when you did land, all you had was this tile to run around on that just had a few kind of placed encampments. It either speaks to the engine's raw inability to do what other modern engines can, or maybe even a tech debt inherited by this engine that makes asset creation take forever, which might also be the reason why Starfield content's taking so long to come out, or even Elder Scrolls 6 is taking so long to make. And that makes me worried for Elder Scrolls 6. I'd like to see usually games ramp up in terms of technical capability and volume of content. And in a lot of ways, Starfield had, some things in that nature, but it seemed like a pretty sidestep in other regards. So when it's Creation Engine 3, well, I don't know what that means, because the last evolution didn't seem to mean a lot.
Lawrence, you're absolutely right about Starfield. I'm going to start with the negative stuff about Todd Howard, all right, and Bethesda, because I love Bethesda and I love their video games, and I can't wait to play all the remakes and all that. I'm just so excited to play them all. But I want to start with the negative. Starfield, I think they overpromised and underdelivered by a lot. So what they thought they could do with Starfield was they're like, you can land on any planet and you can walk around the whole planet. And then when they were making the game, they're like, oh no. They're like, we can't do that. We can't do any of that. We'll just have to put them down in a little section of Skyrim and let them walk to 2 POIs with 1,000 load screens in between. And that's really bad. That is not at all the Bethesda game that they make, generally. So when I hear Creation Engine 2 or 3, I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff, actually. I am just excited that Elder Scrolls 6 will be one contiguous environment. When they drop you in, yes, there were loading screens in Skyrim, but when they drop you in, you could literally just walk and then run into stuff. And that was the magic of Skyrim and the magic of Fallout. And they took that away in Starfield. It was so strange. So I'm glad they're going back to Elder Scrolls 6, because I think Elder Scrolls 6 is the actual game that they wanted to make with Starfield. I know that sounds ridiculous, but they're two different video games. Starfield's in space and Elder Scrolls 6 is on land. So I think that's what they are making, is a game on land.
I agree. I think even more fundamentally, the difference is Skyrim was handcrafted. All the points of interest were placed there intentionally, so that when they tell you to go to a town that's across this field, there's kind of choice set up in how you do that in the terrain. And then that also delivers you to points of interest that you happen across incidentally as you're going. And all that's a curated experience, or mostly curated. Sometimes Bethesda games can be a little arbitrary. But Starfield, yeah, it's just a random generation engine throws around some numbers. It puts a bandit camp there and a cave over there, and that's it. And there's no intentionality between driving you to those points or making it feel like it's your choice in going that direction or stopping to explore. And then, yeah, the facade of the illusion of free will kind of fades away at that point. Then you are just kind of running towards an objective and gunning down whatever has a red arrow above it. So, yeah, if they go back to Elder Scrolls 6 and have a curated world that's kind of meant to be explored with intentionality, then then I think people will react to that a lot better. And on that note, that also kind of brings me back to why I used to be so much more bitter towards Bethesda, because for a while they were the key holders. They were the only ones making games on that scale with that kind of experience. But in the years since, a lot of other people kind of moved into that niche. Obsidian makes great Bethesda-like games with Outer Worlds and Avowed. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 especially is like the hardcore fantasy RPG that I'd always kind of hoped Bethesda would grow into making, but in a lot of ways they kind of went the other way. So I'm not so angry at Bethesda taking forever now, because a lot of other studios have kind of moved in, and that might be a problem for Bethesda. That's kind of my concluding thought here, is that if it's gonna take 20 years between mainline Elder Scrolls games, they've legitimately missed out on an entire generation of games players that just will not have that connection with the franchise. And that truly means that Bethesda is a millennial hit factory, and I don't want it to I'd like their games to be enjoyed by everyone, but man, it just seems like, just by virtue of how long it takes them to make games, it seems like they might be really tuned into people that were really hot on games in the 2010s.
I really think they're just riding their success from the 2010s. I think we talked about this before in another episode. I think that they're now using the remakes and the remasters as just their way to sort of draw out the fact that they're going to make another Fallout and they're going to make another Elder Scrolls, but they're like, we're in no rush. You can go play Kingdom Come Deliverance. Like, why not go play Kingdom Come Deliverance? Enjoy that game. It's a great video game. And then also, you come back in 5 years and we'll have an Elder Scrolls for you. But in the meantime, we got a Fallout 3 remaster. You can play that one from Virtuos. So it's like, to me, it's funny because we talk about how they don't release any video games. We just played the Oblivion remastered, or remake, I guess, almost full remake last year. It was awesome. And Virtuos did a great job. So I'm positive they're working on a Fallout 3. I'm pretty positive they're working on a New Vegas remaster as well. So like, those are going to fill the gaps probably in the next like 5 years or so that we'll get those games. And I'm sure that's the way they're looking at it over there at Bethesda. I don't think they're like, we gotta hurry up and get Elder Scrolls 6 out. It's like, nah, they got the remasters. We'll re-release Skyrim for the 15th time. We'll be fine. It's no big deal. So they're not in any hurry. However, that makes it really bad when the game comes out and it's not very good. Like Starfield's sort of neutral, right? Then we waited 10 years for Starfield or whatever. And then Starfield comes out and we're like, we waited for this? Like, what? So Elder Scrolls 6 has to be a huge deal. Like, it has to be an amazing video game because we waited so long for it.
Yeah, that's kind of I'm not sure it's going to satisfy people's expectations, especially if their expectations have grown over the years, which used to happen, especially with these kinds of games. You could expect more and more and bigger worlds and more vibrant simulations. Yeah, that goes back to my concern. I'm not sure that Bethesda even makes games like that, or that's even where their game creation ambition is anymore. But man, if Elder Scrolls 6 comes out and it has some extremely wacky, like, LLM integration with their NPCs, so they're always saying weird shit, and maybe they bring back their like Radiant AI, so it's just an entire world of unpredictable weirdos, like, that would be so premium. Like, that's new tech I can imagine integrating so seamlessly with a game like that. Even though AI is kind of a dirty word, I can really see it working with just how gonky and arbitrary the Elder Scrolls has always been. So we can hope that it's not just a prettier Skyrim.
Boy, that would be great, wouldn't it? We'll see in 5 years or something. Who knows? Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching Inside Games. Somehow we've been doing this for longer than it's taking Bethesda to make a new Elder Scrolls. I don't even know how that's possible. And that's only because you fine folks, people who are watching right now, appreciate our unique blend of brave games reporting and then speculation on the end of the episode. If you've ever noticed, we report the news first, and then we speculate, then we talk, and we give our opinion.
Yeah, that's our format. Yep, news and then mini podcast. It's pretty fun. It's fun to gab about games, but yeah, I remember banging out scripts for Inside Gaming a million. You want to talk about riding millennial coattails? Shit. I remember bashing out scripts about Skyrim a billion years ago. So here we are, still talking about Skyrim. But yeah, if you enjoy hearing about Skyrim, consider checking out our Patreon, because of course we have one. We post all our content there for free. You can find it all with free memes. And given how meme-worthy Todd Howard is, I'm going to dig out a special Todd Howard meme for today. So please go check it out. And thank you very much for watching Inside Games. Hopefully we all survive to play Elder Scrolls 6. And we'll see you then.